I was having a heart attack in Marshalls.
Well, good
That's a
morning.
hell of a way to start the show.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to Three Guys and Jerry Having a Heart Attack.
Been a
Saturday's
good
Media
run.
Football Show, Week 16. It was a good run. Coming off some action yesterday, a little Saturday night football. Get to see much of the Chiefs game, but the referees of the Chiefs are kind of
Yo, shame on the
out of hand.
NFL. Shame on the NFL for trying to overtake yesterday. I understand the optics of it and why all those teams, because correct me if I'm wrong, but all four of those teams are playing on Christmas, I believe, right?
They are.
Yeah.
So it gives them an even amount of time.
Yeah,
off.
I get that, but let college have the fucking day. Come on. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I didn't watch any NFL yesterday. Yesterday was strictly college for me. I had a great day, minus the fucking Volunteers shit in the bed. Neither here nor there. But it just, I don't know. Like, I hope the NFL got blown out of the water in ratings yesterday.
Don't think.
Hey, look, I don't know. You know what it is? After watching the Notre Dame game, seeing that Notre Dame had a home game, and then Penn State had a home game, Ohio State, that's not fair. What's the point of the playoffs if you're going to give these teams home field advantage in front of 115,000 people? I think that was
the
ridiculous.
Volunteers did take over Ohio State, so
I mean,
their fans
did they?
showed up.
That fan base is like totally out on Ryan Day.
Look,
he's got to win a national championship for him to keep his job.
They put SMU, they put a team from Texas. They made him go play at Penn State
College.
At Penn State in 115 people. Thank God the NFL was on, because there wasn't really any fun. It was horrible, and I was really looking forward to this weekend. And the worst part about it is now Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina think they have something. You were going to get your asses kicked. It didn't matter who was playing those games. They were going to get smoked. I almost wish Alabama was in the playoffs so they could have just got smoked.
I think it would have been more competitive now. I can understand where, like, at first I was, if you go back to the shows when everything got released, I was very down on all the SEC homers. But I think after watching those games, like, you see that I thought it was going to be more March Madness-esque with this college football playoff, where there might be some Cinderella, like at least one Cinderella. But we saw yesterday the little boys cannot show up and play with the big dogs, and that was that. Like, it is what it is. I think it's going to be work in progress with the whole 12-team thing. There's even talk now for more expansion to 14. Who knows? So I don't know. But I think it's just going to be, there's going to be some kinks along the way. It's going to come to form.
I don't mind the idea of 12 teams, because what we had when we were younger, the BCS, that was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
That was like two teams nobody would ever agree on, right? That would be in there. And then it came down to 4, and I thought 4 was okay for a little while. I didn't think it was enough, but it was a step in the right direction. And I do think that they could have, I think like 8 or 10 would have been a more appropriate number.
I think 8's the number. I think
8's the number. But, I'm not going to complain with 12. And, people are complaining about, conference realignment and, it's all about money. And it was always all about money. It was all about money 50 years ago, and it was all about money 50 years before that. And, like, don't let anybody tell you different. The minute we put these games on television, and someone had to pay for that, and someone had to pay for the cameras and the camera crews and the analysts, it became about money. So don't think that college sports is anything different at this point than professional. It's not.
Nope.
They're just younger with less experience. That's it.
With the whole 12-team playoff thing, I think this first year obviously wasn't like a good showcasing for it, because you saw the favorites just kind of blow all the underdogs out of the water. But what it's going to benefit down the line is good teams like these top dogs, these top teams, losing a game or two early in the season and missing out on the playoffs what they used to be. It's going to benefit them, where they're going to be able to sneak in at the back end and then show up against these top teams or top ranked teams. So,
but Zach, it's unfair that Tennessee had to go to Ohio State. They had the same season.
I agree, but there's play the games at a neutral site.
I agree there's things to be worked out, but then, like, if anyone thought SMU was gonna do anything against Penn State, they're out of their fucking mind. Doesn't matter if there was a neutral site or not. If anyone thought who was it, Clemson, who'd they play? Clemson played Notre Dame? No, Texas. Yeah, again, some of these games are just unwinnable for some of the teams. So, But yes, the Tennessee and Ohio State one is probably the one that you saw. Tennessee probably had a legit chance, but everyone
I don't know,
else,
man. SMU was very competitive all year.
they were
Getting
very
blown
competitive
out
all
like
year,
that
but Penn State has
never
some-
happens
and-
at a neutral site. There's no way. Their
I
quarterback
guess so.
was good this year. And now, look, people don't really watch college football a lot until the end. SMU's quarterback is like a Heisman candidate next year. That guy's like really, really good. And he couldn't hear anything. The guy called a play. He called the play to Kevin Jennings hears the play, calls it. It's not even close to the play that he called. So then he asked Kevin Jennings to repeat the play, and then Kevin Jennings called a timeout.
But wait, at a certain point here, and we should move on to the NFL. But like at a certain point here, you've got coaching. You've got a coaching staff at SMU that gets paid, right? Like they get paid decent money because now they're getting well, actually they're not even getting ACC money, but they get paid decent money, right? There's a lot. The Bush family donates to SMU. They're
Yeah.
pretty well funded. Okay.
Yeah.
You thought you were going to walk into Penn State and it was going to be quiet enough for you to run your offense. You didn't think to run a silent count, like
They did. No, I'm saying to even get
I
the
mean-
play call in, they
Yeah.
couldn't. And you know
But-
what, man? It's different. When Tom Brady went into Arrowhead, you're talking about 76,000 people. Kevin Jennings is 21 years old in a playoff game in front of 110,000 people, and nobody was from SMU. It was entirely Penn State. They put the SMU band up in the clouds in the corner of the end zone. You see that? That was pathetic. So you had 110,000 people, 45,000 people more, or 40,000 people more than what Tom Brady was
Listen,
going
though,
up against Mahomes in Kansas
upsets
City.
could happen even in college football. I mean, Michigan, a barely 500 team, walked into Ohio State and fucking spanked them just a couple of weeks
Yes,
ago.
but you're not silent counting. You can't win. SMU's not. It isn't.
if you're a big dog,
not
if you're a big
good of
dog
team.
and you want to play with the big dogs, this is what it is, and it sucks. I know it should have been on a neutral site, but let's move on to the NFL. Let's move on to the NFL. We got a lot of 1 o'clock games here. Probably biggest game here: Giants Falcons. Sarcasm.
No, I'm excited about it.
Michael Penis Jr. is going to start today.
Yeah.
That should be interesting. It's going to be the Bijan Robinson show, though. You're going to see him run for 400 yards against the Giants' shitty defense, and Michael Penix maybe throw the ball 20 times.
Michael Penix is going to throw. Michael Penix is my starting quarterback in fantasy this week in the semifinals.
That's bold.
That is
The Giants are
That's a bold move,
If
Kyle.
that's,
Giants
if that's
are
not a
fucking-
casino move, I've never heard of one.
Giants are horrendous,
Oh, they're awful.
and I looked around at matchups, and I didn't want to start Mahomes because he's a fraud,
Had a good
and
game
I
yesterday.
think
Mahomes had a
He
decent
only-
game though.
not on
He-
fantasy. He had like
That wasn't a
20.
fumble.
He had a
That wasn't a
20-point
fumble
fantasy
yesterday?
week, which you don't look. You're not looking for a 20-point week out of your quarterback. You want a 30-point week out of your quarterback. Michael
I don't know
Penix
what kind
is
of league you play in, but if I get 20 points out of my
I'm
quarterback, I'm happy. Yeah.
no.
You get 20 points.
Listen,
from your
that's why-
quarterback,
that's
you're
why
well on your way
casinos
to
in the
100.
That's why. Yeah, that's why you guys are watching.
That's why you
watching at
assholes are on
home.
the couch.
Championship right now.
20
I don't know what
points,
you're
dude.
talking
Yeah, you're
about.
picking fucking popcorn out of your belly button, you piece
Hey,
of shit.
mine?
That's why this guy's in the semifinals.
Hey, I'm in the championship. Fuck the semifinals. I made it all the way.
Oh, you
Yeah,
made it
well,
all the way?
I'm in
Yes,
the
I
losers
did.
bracket, so I
Wow.
guess that's.
What? This is your final week.
Yeah, we did a 16 playoff, and we started in week 14. I
Wow.
played against someone with Lamar Jackson and Nico Collins on bye to make it to the semifinals.
So the commissioner needs to get fixed out over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's horrible.
He needs to get fixed out.
He needs to get
Ano-
taken-
another game. Another
take him
game we're
behind
looking
the
at.
shed.
An-
That's horrible.
Another game we're looking at here.
Oh, man.
Probably there's 2 big games in the 1 o'clock. There's like 3.
There's a good
There actually is a bunch
slate
of games
1
here.
p.m. games.
Let's get into Eagles Commanders a little bit.
Yeah.
Big game on both sides. Eagles.
Yep.
So the Eagles and the Lions are up at the top of the NFC. Currently, the Lions are one above. They have the same record. I believe the tiebreaker. I think both Eagles' losses are against NFC teams, and I think that's why the Lions are one above. I believe. Eagles need to win out. Lions need to win out. The Eagles' only real test here is going to be the Washington Commanders because after this, I know they see the Giants They see the Cowboys and then the Giants. I don't think they lose either one of those games. Washington is home here. The last time they played was a Thursday night. It was in Philly. We know that Thursday night usually always goes to the home team for the most part. I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this. At this point, Commanders are 9-5. If they win, maybe they could win this division. But that in all likelihood, that's probably not going to happen. But it would definitely help them out to win today. I could tell you selfishly, it would really help the Detroit Lions out if the Commanders could win today. A lot of eyes, all eyeballs are going to be on Saquon Barkley. It does seem like he's out of the MVP race after last week's Lions-Bills game, but he's obviously still in there. He's probably number 2, number 3. I do know he did come out of he kind of hobbled off at one point last week, but he's going to be playing today. He's the entire offense.
I mean, how many yards did he have this year?
He's got 1688 on the ground.
So 2,000 is definitely still well within reason.
It's within play.
I hope it happens.
You know what? If you're Sirianni, it would be really nice to get to that 2,000, but you also want to go on a run in the playoffs. And if you're not the 1 seed, you're looking at playing 3 games just to get to the Super Bowl, as opposed to that 1 week bye. So I think if you're Sirianni, I think you got to be a little careful here. Like, wins matter more than that 2,000 yards. But it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of hard to say, well, how can we limit Saquon and still do what we want to do? Because he's their offense. Jalen Hurts is having a nice season. A.J. Brown's having a great season, almost 1,000 yards here. He's got 5 touchdowns. Do you think there's going to be any balance whatsoever, or it's just going to be a heavy dose of
Saquon Barkley? I think if they ever get going forward, as long as they're in play for the 1 seed, I think he's gonna see his 20, 25 plus touches a game. If they do lose today and are out of it or outside looking in for that 1 seed, I think you'll definitely see them dial back his touches, because there's no reason to basically risk injury, because he's had injury problems in the past and he's never really seen a workload like this since his rookie season. So yeah, it would definitely be smart for Sirianni and the Eagles to limit his touches if they are out of the 1 seed.
For Washington here, I guess Jaden Daniels is still in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I mean, he really
sure.
should be.
It's his right now. I mean,
Yeah. He really should be.
I don't know if it's necessarily his. Brock Bowers is.
they're not going to give it to anyone but a quarterback. I mean,
You don't
I
think
think
so?
it should be Brock
I don't agree with
Bowers.
that. I don't agree with that. They could give it to a. It's not like giving the MVP award out. So it's like,
Pretty sure he's
I
like
don't
a
know. I feel like,
since
I think they should give it to Fashanu because it's a valuable franchise left tackle.
Yeah.
you're such a
He
piece of
deserves
shit.
it.
I was actually going to text you the other day.
Take
Right
him.
now, Fashanu's putting up great numbers on PFF.
Shauna's been great.
Fashanu's been
Well,
fantastic.
The guy that went 4 picks after him has let up 8 pressures in 7 games.
Couple.
But nobody
holds
wants
on
to talk
Shonda,
about it
but other
because-
than
Who's
that,
that?
Fuaga, the better player. It happens. Jets
Fuaga
are
is
stupid,
better.
but Joe Douglas is gone. So
And that's
He's
another thing
fucking
too.
shitty somewhere else.
After everything this week that has, I don't want to derail so much here on the Jets because there's a lot of playoff implications today, and the Jets are not one of them. But after everything that came out this week about the Jets, about how they operate as an organization, how literally Joe Douglas saying I had to answer to a fucking teenager, like maybe Joe Douglas wasn't much of the problem there. Maybe the main problem is, like we said, Woody Johnson. I mean. And I'm not saying that they should have traded for Jerry Jeudy. There's an argument that they shouldn't have, and that's fine. But for the
What's the
excuse
year?
to be his Madden rating wasn't high enough, dude, that's insane.
you know why
That's
Joe Douglas is the
fucking
problem,
insane.
Matt? Why are all these hit pieces coming out and no shade towards Douglas at all? Maybe
it's all
he's
coming
the
from
guy
Douglas.
fucking leaking every. Shut
Yeah,
up,
100%,
bro.
100%,
Shut the fuck
100%.
up. Enough of this
But
guy.
you know
what gave it? What gave
He
it away?
fucking blew all the picks. He traded all the guys to get more picks, blew those picks. Couldn't fucking get guys on the team that could gel. Hired a bunch of shitty coaches and then fucking throws the owner and the fucking rest of these guys under the bus, making fun of the fucking the owner's son. dude.
I think that
Fuck
this
this
stuff
guy's
should
an
have.
asshole.
but this
dude.
shit
He's
shoulda
an
came
asshole
out.
of the
Like, this-
year, bro.
This is
He's a
these
piece
are all
of
good things
shit.
to come out though.
Dude,
Because
the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, and he went out and he fucking threw a fucking a bunch of shade at Howie Roseman because he didn't like the pick. Maybe he should just shut the
I
fuck up.
to
I
act
swear to
like-
God, I'm done with this guy.
To act like
Get
Woody
out.
Johnson isn't a problem with this team is I don't know, is out there because obviously it's all coming from Joe Douglas, but big part of the problem is Woody Johnson is he's run this franchise into the ground over the past few years. I mean, he's made poor decision after poor decision. Yes, Joe Douglas was complicit in that, but Jesus Christ, Woody Johnson needs to take a step back and
this is where I criticize Joe Douglas is while all this was going on, you should have walked away. You should have wiped your hands of it and you should have said,
quit. Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not going to have this be on my resume. I'm not going to fail because of you employing your 13-year-old son to decide who he trade for. So I'm out. And guys have done it. Ernie, of course, he did it with the Colts. Not a lot of people remember that, but that was something that Ernie did, and it earned him a spot in New York to be the GM of the Giants. And obviously, they essentially won 2 Super Bowls because of him. So, but that's the Jets. Do we have anything else on? We have anything else on Eagles Commanders? Because I do want to keep things.
Is
going
this is for the division technically?
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
if the Eagles win, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question while we're still in the Eagles, where are they playing the Cowboys? Are they playing in Dallas or are they playing in Philly?
I think they're in Dallas. Hold on.
They're in Dallas. It could be a tough game. I mean,
No,
Dallas.
they're in Philly. They're in
Ah,
Philly, and then they're in Philly against the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game to lose then.
Another game I'm looking here in the 1:00 window before we get into the Lions. Cardinals Panthers, really important game here for the Cardinals. They are 7-7. They're currently 3rd in their division. They've got the Rams next week. They've got the Niners after that. I don't
Tough
know.
schedule.
I think they could still win. Their division though, right? Yeah, they're 7-7. Seahawks are 8-6. The Rams are 8-6. So the Cardinals are still in play. I mean, technically, the Niners are still in play to win their division.
The Seahawks are a disaster too. I mean, like they should. They're kind of lucky to be hanging around with the Rams and the Cardinals.
I think that entire division is a disaster. I don't think it's just, I think everyone in that division right now is so not middle of the road. That might be the wrong word to use, but
Middle.
everyone's just so much in the same situation. And I think if we're looking at somebody to run away with it, it's the Rams. I think the Rams are probably coming in with the most momentum at the current time of the season, which is now where you want it. And I think everybody else, I don't think the Seahawks are going to be able to kind of piece it together. Especially today, this is going to be a tough game for the Seahawks playing the Vikings.
Boys, I will be
Tough
right
game for
back.
the Cardinals too. I mean, the Panthers are no joke. Bryce Young has really stepped his game up, and that team is kind of gelling lately. I mean, they almost took down the Chiefs a few weeks ago, and who did they play last week? Didn't they?
Who
Did
did
they win last week?
They played the Eagles last
Yeah.
week, I think.
They almost beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
They did.
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Last week they got crushed by the Cowboys.
Yeah, okay, that's right. But the
What's
Panthers seem
spread?
good.
4.5. 4.5 for the Panthers are getting 4.5
In Carolina.
in Carolina.
You want to go back to the Jets and the freaking Rams?
I would like to. Yeah, we didn't talk about the game. We were just fucking bitching
Shitting
and
on
moaning
him.
about the front office, which is nothing
dude,
that we could
I'm
change. He's never going to
sorry.
sell the team. We got to get over it. He's just
When
never going to
these
sell the team.
people, but when these people look, I understand about the vaccine thing, that people got the vaccine or people didn't get the vaccine, but like just with everything, like if it turns out that somebody's right and everybody now hates Rodgers, yeah, I would do the same shit. Rub it in these people's faces because they've been trying to tarnish you for years.
Yeah.
And like Diana Rossini does not like him. She does not like him, and she has a personal vendetta against
Rodgers
the New
or
York
Woody?
Jets. Both. Rodgers specifically. Dan Graziano, always been an anti-Rodgers guy. Ryan Clark's a loser. These people are just losers. They aren't playing anymore. Ryan Clark, I wonder why you don't like Aaron Rodgers. Maybe because he dunked on you in the Super Bowl and you didn't get a ring that year. I think that would probably be the main reason why you don't like Aaron Rodgers. But you can argue about whatever you want to argue on the media, on your social media platform and stuff. But at the end of the day, Rodgers is playing football, and these guys want him to not play anymore. And it's so evident. Like, at some point, actually report on the team. Can we report about how Rodgers is 2 touchdowns away from 500? He may not play for the team next year, but this is a big game for, obviously, the Jets to play spoiler. I think they're going to win today. Maybe they lose and whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter regardless, but there's still talking points. There's still things to report on. There's still like actual things that you can interview these guys. And instead, they're trying to bait our best receiver, our best player, basically trying to bait him into saying he wants out. It's like, are you reporting or are you trying to just fucking stir the pot and get more followers?
I think that
that's what the media
crazy.
does.
There should have been. So you remember the initial hit piece that dropped like a hurricane and caused everything initially right before Douglas got fired? That should have been it. And now they just continue to fucking come and come and comes. Like, all right,
they're
we get the point.
backtracking a lot of that
It's
shit
all
now.
the same points though.
They're
Like, we get it.
backtracking it. Oh, Rodgers, Woody wanted to bench Rodgers. Oh no, Woody wanted to, Woody was just, saying that he was hurt and they shouldn't play him that week. And then it came out again. So Dianna Russini, first that Woody wanted to bench Rodgers. Second amendment to the story was that Woody Johnson said we should bench him because he's hurt and we shouldn't play him in London. Now the third amendment to the story is that Woody Johnson was basically joking. So what's the real story? Why are you lying and then lying again? And then lying again, because when you just continue to lie, there's a famous saying, I hate a liar more than a thief, because the thief is after my salary, but the liar is after my reality. Take my shit, take my money, take my possessions. I don't care. Don't fuck with the reality of any situation, because at that point, now you're altering, what could happen based off of your own viewpoints. You want to steer something in a certain direction. I think that's fucked up. I think you have to watch things and take things objectively and move accordingly. Rodgers should be the quarterback next year. There's nobody else. You want to beat the piss out of this team in the media and try to get the Jets to move on from him? You're hamstringing the Jets. It's not the best situation for the Jets to move on from Rodgers. That doesn't make sense.
I agree with you. I want him to stick around. I want him to be my quarterback next year. I think we should draft somebody, have him sit behind him, and then let that be that and let him ride into the sunset. Do I think we're going to win the Super Bowl? Probably not. I would love to, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if you look at the stats right now, dude, he's playing great ball. He has been playing great ball.
Good football lately.
It's just, lately it's been like better than what it was, but even in the early aughts, minus like the hiccups that were obviously going on and like the Denver game and the Vikings game, other than that, he was steadily throwing for 230, 250. He just eclipsed 300 for the first time in how long? Last weekend. But like, I have him. You want to talk about fantasy football quarterbacks like I did at the top of the show? I have him in one of my leagues, and he's been steadily at I know it's not your barometer, Facino, but he's steadily 15 to 18 points a week, and like he's doing what he has to do. Yeah, he's throwing for at least 200 a game with a touchdown or two, and he does throw interceptions, but I don't know. The only thing I have to complain about him is knock it off with a hard count. I know this worked for you in the past. I know this is kind of your fucking bag or whatever. We're not disciplined enough. We go offsides. Every time he tries to do a hard count on 4th and 2, we go offsides. We get flagged. It's the whole fucking thing. Can't be doing that. The flag is still a problem. They talked about it on Part of My Take the other day. I guess every team during training camp brings in NFL referees to do whatever, and the Jets didn't do that. So that could be why we're getting flagged so much. I think that's just a conspiracy, but might be some legs to that one.
Part of it could be the coaching too. I mean, you do have an interim head coach in there too. That's just, it probably doesn't, it shouldn't be a head coach ever again. And it even showed when Saleh was there. It was a very undisciplined team. So it's just, with the interim coach, it's just gotten worse and worse.
Yeah.
So this team needs a reset. I mean, obviously next year, I mean, you're hoping they'll be somewhat competitive. at best, you're looking to see guys take steps forward. Brees Hall kind of work back towards what you thought he would be this year. Garrett Wilson continue to grow because he's gotten better and better every year, and just other guys on the defense. Sauce, regain what he part of what he did in his rookie season. So you can do that by putting the pieces in place, getting a good general manager, president of football operations, and then hiring the right coaching staff and getting the right people there to coach these players. Because the team is still fairly young, aside from Rodgers and Devontae Adams and some guys on defense. So
No, for sure. The core in its own. You Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, even Quinnen Williams is in
Quinnen Williams,
what,
Sauce,
25,
Sauce.
26?
Yeah.
You know,
Quincy
there's
Williams still young too.
yeah.
They have
the other
your
quarterback,
boy
TJ
Olu is fucking what,
Olu's
24,
Olu's not. He's
23?
not bad. He's not bad. He's a piece. But they have the big debate is you eat the $35 million cap hit for Rodgers this year if you cut him, or you eat it the following year. If you eat it the following
Just let him
year,
play out his contract.
How many years are
the
left in his
cap hit,
contract?
Just one
he either
next year.
he either
Yeah,
has a
so
35.
why-
There's either no cap hit next year, or I'm sorry, either you're paying him $59 million not to play next year, or you're allowing him to play this in 25, and then you're paying $35 million on the cap for 2026. But if you obviously whatever, you don't want to eat that much money in 26, but the reality of the situation is they have $115 million in cap. They could re-sign Sauce, Garrett, Jermaine, and bring back Devontae, and have Rodgers playing in 2026 or 2025. And the cap hits for everything in 26 when Rodgers has that cap hit, you still have $50 million in cap space. There's just so much flexibility with this team. The argument against him, against eating the money this year is a stupid argument. Just play.
Why do you have to pay him in 2026?
There's guaranteed money that you can accelerate if you cut him. So if you cut him this year, the $35 million for the following year accelerates to this year. Where if you don't, then he can play in 25, and then his cap hit when he doesn't play in 26, if he retires, is $35 million, which easily fits under the Jets cap based off of what they've already told us. So,
Well, what's the reasoning for was there a deferment or something in the contract that you're paying him in 2026?
guarantees that they can't avoid. So if they cut him, it accelerates.
No, I get that, but why is there a cap hit in 2026, even if he retires or if he's not under contract?
Because they're guaranteed. It's guaranteed money. So if you don't cut him and he plays this year, the money is pushed to the following year. If you cut him this year, then it all goes to this year. Which again, what are you gonna now? You're gonna suck next year. You're not gonna suck because the team was never that bad.
No, they just
depends
need to
on
figure it out.
depends on your next hire. Your next head coaching hire may not want Rodgers in the room. And
Then he's an idiot.
Well, no.
No.
What do you want? You want to fucking
No.
start Tyrod Taylor? You're an idiot. Tyrod Taylor is.
I don't think it's about. I don't think it's
Who's your other
necessarily.
guy?
I don't think it's necessarily all about the play on the field. I think if you're hiring a new coach and a whole new staff, you're assuming next year is not going to be a playoff year, right?
All right,
So-
so you want another guy to suck.
No,
Not
but I think
competitive.
you may not want Rodgers' voice in the room anymore.
If I'm Garrett Wilson, then I want to leave. I'm done. You want to suck again? Fuck yourself.
And
You want to
that's
suck?
That's not the
Right.
worst thing in the world because now you can acquire some more picks, but
But what is-
you can't- but wait
a minute,
you can't-
2026,
like-
rather.
But before even debating the play on the field, okay, before we even debate the play on the field, it is very fair to say that the next guy does not want Rodgers' voice in a room with a bunch of young players. Like, I don't understand how that's a crazy thought to have. This is a very
It's
controversial
insane.
guy. It's a very controversial guy who's gotten coaches fired in the past. Why would the new guy want that guy in the room? Why?
The
Why
new
would you
guy
want
coming
that?
in wants
In the
to-
words of
wants
Aaron
to be the
Rodgers,
alpha
he's
male.
only played for 4 head coaches now.
He doesn't
It's,
do
it's
that.
not. It's not
This
like
is a
he's-
narrative at this point.
Yeah,
He
He's played
coached.
for
There was a
4 head
biography.
coaches.
It's a
He
Netflix
doesn't-
documentary.
Right.
Look at how
he's an
he helped
enigma.
Jordan Love.
He's an enigma. The guy does ayahuasca. He's so fucking cool. No, fuck that
the best.
documentary. I'm not touching that documentary. The 10-foot pole.
But it tells you. Look, Jordan Love was mentored by Rodgers, and a lot of things were taught to him by Rodgers on the field, in the film room, off the field, and Rodgers helped him a lot. And I
they
think
actually talk about football in that documentary.
to hate the teammate there's teammates that don't like him, and you know what? Fuck those guys. Fuck them. Why do you not like him? Look at there's so many guys that loved him. So if there's 2 or 3 guys that think he's a bad teammate, Ryan Clark.
We'll find out after he
loser.
retires and or he gets cut. You know, then everything
Somebody will write a book.
come out. Yeah, exactly.
Someone will write a book.
He'll go. You know what? I think if he gets cut, I think he would. I think he should, and I think he will go to the Colts because I think they have a good receiving core. They have an offensive-minded head coach, and he's not going to retire. He's not going to say, "Oh, it didn't work out with the Jets. I'm going to retire." He's not going out like this. I'm sorry, he's not doing that. He's Aaron Rodgers. If there's one thing that I will say that's negative about him, he has an ego.
It's not negative to have an ego, especially as a quarterback. You got to have some level of an ego.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's going to be a long list of teams fighting to get him. So you'll see. I mean, yeah, maybe he doesn't want to go out like this. I don't think there's a very long list of teams
He might not have a choice.
that want to. I don't think he's going to have a lot of choices. I think he'll have 1 or 2 choices, maybe. So
I really hope he stays in New York, man. I really do. That all being said, I think the Jets win this game today. Not to go off on that
I hope
really
they
long
do.
tangent, and if you're all still here, if you look at the stats here, the Rams don't bode well in the cold. And I don't know how they traveled, but they're playing this game at 10 a.m. Pacific time. There's a whole thing with the whole fucking jet lag, and it's literally 10 degrees out. I'm sure it's even colder at MetLife Stadium right
Fucking
now.
freezing, I can tell you
Yeah,
that much.
so
I
I
hope
spread to
Cooper
your
Kupp
3
has a nice
points. I
day.
don't love the spread, but I think the Jets can win this game outright. I'm thinking about emptying the account on it. I don't really like to bet on the Jets, but whatever. Fuck it.
Sometimes
Well, you
have
could
to.
get them. They're +3 at home here. You can get them at +137 on the money line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a terrible game to bet on. I mean, the Jets are
What's
kind of showing to
the-
be some spoilers here. So
That's
What's the
what I'm
over
saying.
under?
42 and a half.
Yeah,
46 and a half.
46 and a half, which is
46?
really high
Oh,
for a
that's
cold game.
High for a cold game. I'd take that under every day of the week.
Honestly, that might not be a bad play. I might
I mean,
juice it a little bit because I always juice over unders, but that might not be a bad play.
Yeah, juice it up to 50, 49 and a
Yeah.
half, something like that. I mean, what's it called? But when did the Rams play last? Who did they play last? Was it the 49ers game? Or was that 2 games ago?
Yeah, no, on Thursday night, last Thursday night.
Yeah, where that was a 12-6 game. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
they beat. Yeah, it was a very quiet Thursday night game. You guys did not get into Lions
Lions,
Bears yet, right?
No, why would we?
Lions are going to Chicago today. Same thing, 20 something degrees. It's going to be like 30, 40 mile an hour winds. So a lot happened past week in Detroit. So
explain us.
Bills come to town. They beat us. And the Lions lose 3 more starters. Well, 2 more starters on the defense, 1 more starter on the special teams. And then Dave Montgomery goes down. And then the story
Forgot
about that
that.
is, okay, David's going to need surgery. He's out for the year. And then a couple days later, David was handing out coats at a coat drive, and a reporter was there and said something about like, hey, I noticed you're not on the IR yet. Like, are they just waiting to see who they're going to put in your place? And he was kind of like, no, I'm not going on IR. I'm getting another opinion, and I'm going to try to play through this. And he's definitely not going to play today, which sucks, right? Because he always loves to play against the Bears. It seems like he's going to avoid surgery. I don't know that we're going to see him again in the regular season. I think they're going to want to rest this for 3 more weeks, but it looks like I guess a lot of painkillers. I don't know what else they're going to be doing.
Painkillers and a knee brace.
The Lions currently lead the league, 22 guys on IR. They've lost 6 or 7 pieces of their starting defense. The rest of the guys, key rotational players. I don't think we've seen a team. I could say the Ravens. The Ravens have always had IR problems for the past decade, but I don't think we've seen someone at this point in the season with 22 guys on IR. It's going to be really, really challenging for the Lions here on out.
But if you guys do come back, like Anzalone's on IR, he will be back.
Anzalone can come back. Ife Melifonwu is coming back today.
Yeah.
They're one of the most injured teams.
Ever.
But how
Well,
many
not
season
ever.
ending, how
There
many-
is. I mean, Vrabel. Everybody hates Vrabel now. If you don't want Vrabel,
I don't think
whatever.
anybody hates Vrabel. I think the
The
Titans
Jets
hated
should hire
People-
Vrabel.
I
already
wish
in the
I
building.
wish there was more Jets fans that would actually realize the guy's a good head coach. But Mike Vrabel, and when the year that he went 7-10 in 22,
Yeah.
they had 32 guys on the IR.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh, is that
But-
when they snuck into the playoffs?
No, they just missed the playoffs. They
Mhm.
lost to the Jaguars, and the Jaguars snuck in. The only reason the Jaguars made it was because the Titans got hurt. They barely deserved to make it. But look, how are you going to win a Super Bowl with 22 guys in the IR is the question. How is it even attainable? That's the question.
Well, the good part is that now 22 turns into 21 because Iffy comes back. The
Who?
way-
Monty or?
No, Monty's not on IR.
Oh,
Iffy Melifonwu
yeah.
has come off. He's a safety, so there's going to be some version of him playing either corner or moving Brian Branch down into the nickel corner position. The guys that you're not getting back is Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, Pecco, Davenport. Kaminsky may come back, but that's another rotational guy. Malcolm Rodriguez is not coming back. He's got a torn ACL. Those guys can't come back, right? But the guys that can, like Carlton Davis broke his jaw on a tackle against the Bills. That's in all likelihood a 6-week injury. So potentially you could see him if they're in the NFC Championship. That would be like the first time that you could see him. And Aiden Hutchinson is claiming, still to this day, if they are in the Super Bowl, he's playing. Which
Fuck it.
I don't see, but if that's what he believes, Godspeed, and we'll see what happens.
He'll be healed. It's not like he won't be healed.
You know what
It-
I want to
it's
see
just
the
a matter of will
Lions
he be
do,
ready to
dude?
play.
I want to see the Lions work out a deal or something for Jamal Williams. Bring him back in the interim while
Was
you're
he-
waiting for Montgomery to get healthy.
He's still in the Saints.
Was he cut?
That's what I'm saying. No, he wasn't cut yet, but try to figure something out there where he's just literally actually. No, he's not even playing. Cut him because they just activated. He's not even their start. He's not even their number one
Kendrick
running
Bourne is
back.
their starter.
Yeah,
They could bring in guys like Leonard Fournette, maybe.
A key thing to watch today is obviously they're going to give Gibbs more touches. That's just what's going to happen.
Craig
They
Reynolds there as the
drafted,
backup.
so they have a guy, Craig Reynolds. He's the third. string.
yeah. I remember him from Hard Knocks.
Craig's good on the goal line. I think you'll
He'll
see him
see
get some.
touches.
Yeah, you'll see goal line touches for him. That's what I think.
Short
One-
yardage, early
One
down.
guy I want to be seeing today is Sione Vaki. So, Facino, you may be familiar with this guy, Pac-12 guy. Played at Utah, I think. Was a free safety and halfback for them. Was a two-way player. And we drafted him in the 6th round. We've used him only on special teams. He's gotten like 3 or 4, maybe like 6 carries this year for the Lions. He's a very shifty guy. He's very good in the open field. I think you're going to see them. I would really, really like to see them give this kid a chance today because in theory, you could look at Gibbs and say, okay, man, your time to shine, your time to step up here. But at the same rate, like, how much can you ride this guy? You're getting ready for a playoff run. You need him for the tournament. If you lose a game in the next 3 weeks, you're going to be playing in the wild card round. You need all the help you could get. So personally, if there's any lead that they've got today, I'd like to see them give the ball to Sione Vaki and see if he could kind of carry some of the load here in Detroit. Jared has kind of poo-pooed on the idea that he can't play in the cold weather. He's done it in the past. He did it this year already in Green Bay. So I don't really worry about him against the Bears necessarily, but the facts are the facts. And 20 degrees with high winds is not good for.
Dude, it's colder
I
in
don't
New
ca-
York right now than it is in Chicago. It's 30 degrees in Chicago.
Well,
Is it
oddly
really?
enough, Matt,
Yeah.
talking about Goff, you don't like it, best case scenario, and I mean this in I don't mean it in the way it sounds. You don't want Goff to have a good game. You want to run the ball so much that you keep that defense off the field and you eat up so much possession time that you're not going to see much of your defense on the field. You want the Bears offense sitting on that sideline, staying cold, and you don't want your defense out there because they're so banged up. It's as simple as that. You just
Also,
want to eat up
though-
possession time and don't give the Bears offense a chance to do anything against your defense.
Yo, real quick, Shout out fucking Jared Goff last week for having a
Yeah.
Balling out.
sneaky game. He threw for
500
like
yards,
450
5
or
touchdowns.
500
It was-
yards. Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about that, it was a great game. That was more of an on paper great game. Like, great game. Anytime you throw for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, great game. But, you came out of that first half with only 14 points. And a lot of that I'm going to throw shade on Ben Johnson for. Probably should have abandoned the run game a little earlier. They knew Montgomery got hurt like 3 weeks ago. So they knew that they were playing with a hurt Montgomery. So why he was still getting the ball as much as he was, I don't know. He really should have been more of a decoy on the field. But the run game probably should have been abandoned a little early. The Lions don't like to do that. And respectfully so, right? Like you just said, Bass, they want to keep the other team, especially when you're playing a team like the Bills, you want Josh Allen on the sideline as long as possible, right? We used to always say this about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. You want to beat those guys, you got to keep them on the sideline. You can't keep them on the field because they will beat you. The Lions kind of went away from what they wanted to do, and that's when they started to score points. They had a great second half, but it wasn't enough. And once again, the national media was waiting for it, right? When Dan Campbell tried that onside kick and it didn't work out. And that was stupid. Very stupid. You really just can't have it both ways, right? Like, we can't celebrate this guy having throughout his career in Detroit, 75% on fourth down, right? Like, they are 75% on fourth down conversions since he's taken over as head coach. You can't be, it's kind of all or nothing. Like, the guy that's going to go for it on fourth all the time is also the guy that's going to do these onside kicks. And it was stupid. It was stupid. But give me that guy over the guy that punts on 4th and 1. Give me that guy over the guy that kicks field goals on 4th and 1 with a tie game, right? So, is it silly? Yeah, it is. But some of these crazy decisions are the reason why we're 12-2, because the numbers would almost always advise against what Dan Campbell does. I shouldn't say always. The analytics are actually starting to sway his way now, but you can't. My point is that you can't have it both ways. If you can't have the guy that likes to go forward on fourth and then shies away from that at certain other points. I think it was probably too early in the game to do that. And regardless,
what was the reasoning for the onside kick? Just to kind of take momentum earlier in the fourth
he wanted
quarter?
to just keep. He knew that the defense was stopping nobody, and he wanted any possible chance to just give the offense back the ball and score again. It was stupid. He shouldn't have done it. But once again, you live by the gun, you're going to die by the gun.
Yeah, I
And
like
That's
dying
how
there.
it's going to be. Yeah. You got to appreciate the
I would have
consistency.
died there too. Everything that Dan Campbell does, I agree with. Fuck it. Who cares? If you do anything with confidence, it's a good move.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people forget. Like, when you go for it because you're going through the motions and the analytics say go for it, are you confident? When Dan Campbell's going for it, it's like, dude, fucking Dan Campbell's going for it. We're going to fucking do it because he's going for it.
No.
Like, it's just a different approach. People will never understand it.
And no matter what happens to the Lions from here on out, that's going to be, unless they win the Super Bowl, that's going to be the conversation from the national media. Is this team cannot win with this guy as their head coach because he goes for it too much.
And they'll tell them to go fuck themselves. That's it. I feel like everyone in
Biting their
Detroit,
kneecaps.
everyone in that locker room, anyone who matters is going to ride or die with Dan Campbell and understands the optics of the situation. I think it's plain and simple. I think everybody's in his on his side.
Yeah.
No,
Well, what's Jesus, what else is there today? 49ers and Dolphins are basically going to eliminate each other today.
That might actually be kind of a entertaining game. Tonight's game might be okay too. Bucks Cowboys.
that's probably the best game of the later window. From 4 o'clock
Bucks,
on.
Cowboys, yeah.
Yeah, I mean Seahawks Vikings might be interesting, but Seahawks are kind of shit, and Geno's hurt. So
Why
even though
are the
they're
Jags
sick.
and Raider? Oh, because it's in Vegas, so it's got to be a 425.
Who's
One thing to look out for today, I think, are the Jets still in last place in the AFC East?
Yes.
Or
No,
they-
the Patriots
The
are.
Patriots are. Well, if if the Jets finish in last place in the AFC, it's assuming the Giants do, because they probably will. They do play each other next year because they're the 17th game. That would be the 17th game.
The Jets
Fourth
and
place in
Giants.
yeah, well, fourth
Nice.
place of the NFC and the AFC East match up. So first, second versus second, so on and so forth. So if they both finish in the same position, which would have to be fourth, they will play each other next year. Which would be pretty cool.
That's how it goes. I thought they just played each other every like 4 years during the regular
They
season.
do, but now that they added the 17th game, I don't know how it works, which division matches up, but it's 2 divisions match up, and the where you place in that division is who you play.
It rotates, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
you're talking about the Giants. Like, I don't know about the Giants. I can only tell you my team, but if you're the AFC East, the first year they did it, they started with the AFC West, and then you went North, South, and then West again because you're in the East. So whoever they started with, which was what's this 3 years now they've been doing it, they're back to the original team that they would have, the original division. This is going to be the 4th year. So
You're talking about for the 17th game?
yeah,
Well, this year it's NFC versus AFC, or for next year. How much I do know.
what do you mean?
Every year it's always you're playing a team from the opposite conference. Your 17th
Yeah.
game is an opposite conference.
Yeah.
It's not going to be someone from if you're an NFC team, your 17th game is not going to be another NFC team.
No, yeah, I'm saying it's going to be.
I had thought it was.
They're cycling it north, south, east, west. So every
Yeah, this year is East versus East. I think last year the NFC East was against the AFC West.
East.
No,
No.
last year I think it was the West. Because I think we played maybe it was the Chiefs 2 years ago. I don't know. We played the Chiefs recently. I don't know. For our 17th game, I thought. But I don't know.
it couldn't have been that because the Chiefs win the
No,
division
it
every
wasn't.
year.
No, who did we play? I don't remember now.
Well, who are you playing this year?
Who are we playing this year? I'm trying to think.
The Falcons.
No. We play from the opposite conference.
Okay, you're
so
playing the
NFC.
NFC West. So you played the Seahawks this year. So now you're gonna play. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? You played.
Playing the Falcons, then we play.
You play the Colts. So you're at the South. So now
Yeah,
next year you're gonna play a team from the East, which will
Yeah.
probably be
the Jets or the Patriots.
We've got actually a really good game in the 4 o'clock window. Vikings Seahawks. I think that's going to be the only watchable game from the 4 o'clock.
Who's
window.
playing quarterback for the Seahawks?
It's Gino.
It is Gino.
He's playing. Oh wow.
Gino's playing.
God.
He couldn't even
Gino's
get off
playing.
the field last week, right?
And
Or hurt.
he was hurt at some point last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're actually another team that they went from thinking they were losing Gino for the season to now Gino's playing this week. So I don't know what happened. This is a really important game. Another really important game for the Lions. If the Vikings win today, so both the Vikings and Lions are 12-2. They're essentially tied for the NFC North, the first place, the NFC North.
Yeah.
If the Vikings could somehow lose this game, that would give the Lions and really the Eagles too a lot more breathing room. And they've got a chance. I mean, it's tough going from east over to west and now playing in that different time zone. The Seahawks do have a good home field advantage.
Yep.
The Seahawks are very much still in it. They're in second place for they're another team that's in second place on paper, but they're tied, same record as the Rams here. So the Seahawks are kind of looking at the Rams here, playing the Jets, hoping the Jets could play spoiler, hoping that the Jets could go out and beat the Rams today. And if the Rams lose, Seahawks win, that bumps the Seahawks right back into first place and into a playoff spot. So really important game. The Vikings are favorited 2.5 there. So Seahawks are home dogs.
I kind of love that line though for the.
I think I'm going to make a little.
For the Seahawks case. That's a
I'm
good
going to make a
line
little home
for the
dog parlay
Seahawks.
today. I'm going to take the Seahawks and the Jets here. I'm going to take them both money line.
I
Taking the
might
Jets?
tail
take the
you,
Jets.
Pask.
I'll take the Jets.
What'd you say? Don't take the Jets?
No,
Nah, fuck off.
I don't gamble. When I did gamble, I used to take the Jets. It's one of the
Never
reasons I
take
don't
your-
That's
gamble.
probably why you don't gamble.
Exactly. You start taking the Jets, you're gonna stop gambling pretty soon.
You didn't win much, did you?
Boys, I am going to have to jump off the stream here. Do you guys want to get into anything? You want me to just jump off?
No,
here?
I got no. I
There's
wasn't saying
not much
at
left.
that.
I mean-
I think we covered all our bases.
Yeah,
Bucks Cowboys was the only really noteworthy game left, and I mean that should end up being a Bucks game, them taking over the Cowboys, but it is it's in Jerry World, right? So
Yes.
yeah, the Cowboys. I mean, Cooper Rush has been pretty good. Rico Dowdle's done a good job in the backfield for the Cowboys, but it's just a matter if they can stop Baker Mayfield in that Bucks offense, which I don't really think they can.
All right, boys. Good show. Oh, my boy Todd's asking where my beer is.
and
Todd,
the
no
answer
beer
is
yet.
Michael Penix is throwing 4 touchdowns today. So, if you want
As
to know.
long
Well, yeah,
as
if we don't,
fucking
we are
everyone
not going to
fans
see
fix-
everyone.
Secret bet of the day.
Have a Merry Christmas. Have a
Yes.
Happy
Yeah, Merry
Hanukkah.
Christmas.
Have a Happy Kwanzaa, and make sure you got your poll up for Festivus.
Mhm.
All right, boys.
All right, boys.
Go
We'll see you all
Jags.
next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Let's go Lions.